Hey friends, I'm live. What? So I have two disclaimers to make. One, sorry about my hair. I'm doing like an air dried, no product, no heat thing right now. So I'm looking great. And two, this is my first ever live video on my health page that's not like in a group or something. Um, so it's a little bit scary. So if I mess up or seem nervous, I'm so sorry. But I mean, I guess I'm like stepping out of my comfort zone, doing a live video. Um, I totally did not intend to do this. This wasn't an intentional push myself outside my comfort zone. But I was trying to record a video, and my phone ran out of space. So I did like all these takes of messing up and let me start again, messing up and let me start again. And then I was getting a good take, and my phone was like, not enough space, and stopped the video. I was like, forget it. I'm just going live. I can't even deal with this right now. So here I am. Thanks for bearing with me and for listening to that weird disclaimer. Anyway, so today I want to talk about stress. Okay. And if you've been following my videos for a little while, you'll know that I did a little series on stress in April for Stress Awareness Month. It talked a lot about what stress does in the body and super simple techniques for coping with stress throughout your day. So if you didn't get to watch those, go back and take a little looky because they're super helpful. But I wanted to get back into stress because for me, I just feel very strongly that stress really, really affects our health. Like really, really, really. And obviously, I think we all know that stress can cause weight gain, and stress can lead to super serious stuff like, heart attack and stroke, or even premature aging, or all of those things, right? But it also just really affects us day in and day out, emotionally and physically. And there are so many different things that go into why you're stressed, different things that create your stress that I think go overlooked or pushed aside. And it's time to address them so that you can kick stress once and for all, right? And so again, just another disclaimer, since so much does go into being stressed, like what it does in the body and what causes it and stuff, I can go on tangents. When I was thinking about what I would say in this video, I was like, just thinking of all these different things, and it was hard for me to stay on track because it's just so involved. But I want to try and keep it as simple as I can today, keep it short and simple, and just, provide some information or whatever. So, yes. So from there, let's talk about it. The body actually can't tell the difference between real and perceived stress, okay? So just take a minute to let that sink in, right? The body cannot tell the difference between real and perceived stress. So what even is real and perceived stress? Well, real stress is life-threatening, threatening your survival. This is like going back to like caveman times where, it's fight or flight, right? Like an animal is chasing you, you can either fight it or run away, right? So threatening your survival, that is real stress. Perceived stress is, getting stuck in a traffic jam, or dealing with your toddler, or work deadlines, or anything like that. It doesn't mean it's not stress or like real stress, you know what I mean? But it's perceived. It can be as intense or not that stressful depending on how you perceive it and how you react to it, right? Does that make sense? So real and perceived stress, but your body can't tell the difference, so it responds in exactly the same way, which means that it turns on the fight or flight response. So let's talk about what happens in the body when that fight or flight response is turned on, right? Well, the body releases all those stress hormones like cortisol, and, it releases insulin and all of those things. There's so many. This is where I'm going to try and keep it simple, but And it directs all of your resources to your arms and legs and brain so that you can think fast and fight or run away, right? So everything else shuts down and it's just like fight or flight survival mode. So this means that your digestion shuts down, right? Because when you're trying to fight for your life, your body's not going to be worrying about like digesting your sandwich that you had for lunch. It's going to shut that off. So you're not digesting properly and you're not assimilating your nutrients properly. And then of course you're not burning fat properly, right? And when you're not assimilating nutrients properly, you might notice you feel hungrier a lot of the time, right? Because your body is searching for those nutrients. It's like, well, I still am not getting them. I don't know. Like, let me be hungry so I can finally get these nutrients, right? And then cortisol itself can actually stimulate appetite. What? So when you have that cortisol running through you, it is stimulating your appetite. It's making you hungrier. I feel like I forgot to say this in the beginning too, that the way I want to keep this simple today is by talking about how stress relates to your weight, losing weight, retaining weight, gaining weight, right? So I meant to say that in the beginning, but I don't think I did. So this is what I'm going for today. Stress and weight. Okay. Yeah, so cortisol can stimulate appetite. And on top of that, cortisol can actually cause a rise in insulin levels. So more insulin is constantly being sent out, and that causes your blood sugar levels to dip way down, causing a crash, right? A blood sugar crash. And when that happens, what do you think you start craving? Your body starts craving the quickest, easiest source of energy that it knows, which is sugar. I mean, how many times have you been stressed and you're like, oh, I need something sweet. I need some sugar to make me feel better, right? It's probably one of the most common things that I hear from people. They crave sugary foods when they're stressed. Yeah, so it's a very common coping mechanism, but unfortunately, too much of that leads to weight gain. You know, when you start rewarding yourself or giving into those sweet cravings, you start to develop too much sugar in the body, and then it has nowhere to go but to be stored as fat. And so then throughout that process too, your body has to keep producing more and more insulin levels to keep your blood sugar stable. That's kind of that blood sugar roller coaster, right? It's like, well, now I'll have the sugar and now my blood sugar spikes up. I feel great. And now I'm going to crash. And then, right? Blood sugar roller coaster. It's insane. And then when that insulin is being produced, this is the even worse part. When that insulin is being produced, your body cannot produce what's called glucagon. So glucagon is really important if you're trying to lose weight because it's the hormone that's responsible for bringing fat out of storage to be burned. So if you're feeling stressed constantly and feeling those sugar cravings and really giving into them a lot, not only are you probably storing some of that sugar as fat, but you also can't release the fat to be burned because that insulin, it blocks glucagon production. So the fat cannot be released from storage to be burned. Super lame, right? Yeah, so it affects your hunger, it affects your sugar cravings, it affects your ability to burn fat. All kinds of things are going on. It shuts down your digestion, probably makes you feel like crap. Sometimes when you feel like you've got a big like brick in your stomach, are you stressed? Because you probably do. Your meal is probably just sitting in there because your digestion has shut off because you're in fight or flight mode, right? And maybe you're the kind of person that doesn't give in to that sugar craving, so that's super awesome if that's you. But that insulin and cortisol is still being produced when you're stressed, and it's still restricting your fat burning. And stress can also alter your gut flora and affect your microbiome, which leads to even more digestive issues and a harder time burning fat and losing weight, right? So no matter what you're eating, or how much you're exercising, you know, how well you think you're taking care of your body, if you're dealing with a lot of stress, you're gonna hit a roadblock. Gosh. And so this is what I was saying earlier too, that stress can be caused by an awful lot of things. And it's so much more than just workplace stress. You know, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't only affect 9-to-5ers, you know what I mean? Who are like commuting and stuck in traffic and have deadlines. Yes, workplace stress is a big one. Dealing with your kids is a big one, or maybe you have like an elderly parent living with you that you're taking care of. That's stressful. You know, things that are out of our control, stressful. Traumas, personal trauma, you know, health issues. Maybe someone you're close to is really dealing with a serious health condition. That's stressful. You know, all of those things that are out of our control lead to our stress, of course. But then also, you know, especially if you are trying to lose weight and you're approaching weight loss from that diet deprivation mentality, that is also going to turn on your stress response. If you are counting every single thing that you put in your mouth, you're turning on your stress response. That is creating so much stress around mealtime, which is probably the one time you don't want to be stressed, right? When you're eating meals, that's when you want to assimilate and burn and have your body work the way it's supposed to. But if you are depriving yourself or creating all that stress around mealtime, your body is actually working against you. It's turned on that stress response. It's not working the way it should, right? When you're judging the food that you're eating or judging yourself for eating certain foods, like, oh, I shouldn't be having this, but I'm going to. What's wrong with me? Oh, I'm the worst, right? That turns your stress response on. Whereas if you might say, oh, well, I'm about to eat this brownie, but you know what? I want it. It's going to taste good. I deserve it. I'm going to savor every bite. Let's do this. That releases the stress. And your rest and digest response is turned on, which means that you burn that brownie super quick, right? Your body doesn't hold on to it. It's like, oh, I'm relaxed. I'm going to burn right through you, brownie. Yeah, and then honestly, judging yourself in the mirror, hating your body turns on that stress response. So if you're looking in the mirror and hating what you see, judging yourself at every chance you can, you know, your body hears everything that your mind says, and it turns on the stress response and it fights against you. You know, when you're hating your body, it's not going to work for you. It's going to work against you by holding on to that weight. Also, how do you approach exercise? Are you enjoying it? Are you doing movements that you love and make you feel good? Or are you punishing yourself with exercise? Oh, well, I had a brownie last night. Now I got to be on the treadmill for 2 hours. You know, when you approach exercise like that and you hate it, you hate the activity or you hate yourself during it, you're punishing yourself, guess what? That turns on the stress response. And you might as well just not even go to the gym because your body will have a much harder time releasing what you want to release, because you're stressed and it's holding on to it, right? Judging, like I said, judging yourself, judging your body, fearing judgment from others, wanting to prioritize yourself. Take time for self-care, but you don't think you're deserving enough or you feel guilty for doing it. That can elevate your stress response, right? Foods that you eat can create stress in your body. Lingering resentments towards people. Wow, let's get into it, right? I was like, I'm not going to get too deep, but these things that we hold on to, that you think, you know, maybe you've pushed so far down, you think it's not affecting you. But guess what? It is. It's still in there. It's still creating this tension. It's still creating this stress within you that makes it so hard to release excess weight, because your body knows what's in there. Rodney. So, like I said, there are so many reasons why your stress response might be turned on. So much more than just like surface level, I'm stressed about work, right? Like, what is deep down inside you? So, yeah, how do you deal with all this, right? What's the next step? Well, the next step is be honest with yourself. How can you get in touch with what's really going on? Dig deep. Be honest with yourself. What is causing you this stress? What thoughts go through your head day in and day out? You know, where can you feel your body start to tense up instead of being relaxed? Is it mealtime? Is it when you look in the mirror? Is it at night when you're trying to go to bed? You know, is it on your commute? When is it, and what is triggering that? So get honest with yourself. Where are these feelings coming from? And then what step can you take to cope with those and reduce those? Again, it's being honest. Do you have to forgive somebody? Do you have to forgive yourself? Can you approach mealtime from a place of relaxation and enjoyment rather than deprivation and stress? Can you focus on the nutrients you're putting in your body instead of the calories that might be making you fat? You know, how can you look at different things from a different perspective that create relaxation in the body rather than stress? So that's the first step. Being honest, you know, being radically honest and trying to dig deep, you know, journal about it, figure out what you can do. I am developing a course called Stress to Zen. It's my little catchy name. So if you've seen me post a little bit about that recently, it is going to go into all of these things. And I will make another video about that in the future. I don't want to get into all of that right now, but I am trying to create something that isn't just, oh yeah, do this breathing technique, or yeah, you know, go out for a walk in nature. I mean, while those do play a big part in relaxing you, so many more things go into it than that, and we can go really, really deep. And I wanted to create something that's real and can create massive change in a short amount of time without much work. Right? Sounds pretty good, right? So yeah, so I'm trying, and I'm going to wrap up this video here. Otherwise I'm just gonna start rambling and being really weird. So thank you for sticking with me for this video. I really hope it made sense. That's the tricky thing with a live. But if it did, maybe I'll start doing more lives, and you know, we'll see what happens. We can have a little experience all together. All right, so yes, I will be in touch very soon. If you are dealing with stress, or you know deep down there's something in there, you know, like those lingering resentments or something that's deep, deep, deep that you're having a hard time dealing with, please feel free to message me. If you feel like you need help or support, or you know, someone to help you create a plan to move forward, that's exactly what I'm here for. So reach out to me anytime. I love to support you in any way that I can. Okay, I will be talking to you very soon. Have a great week.